Good afternoon, guys. It's working, bringing you a quick update on EOS. Hope you guys are having a wonderful afternoon. We're looking at EOS to the US dollar. This is the 4-hour chart on Bitfinex. And yesterday, guys, I warned you that EOS looked like it was prime for a breakout. I told you that my bias was to the upside, but I was cautiously optimistic given that Bitcoin had that very bearish-looking rising wedge. And as you know, as always, we always know that Bitcoin can drive EOS down if Bitcoin does drop. And sure enough, that's exactly what happened, guys. Unfortunately, we got a breakout. It just wasn't in the direction that we were hoping. Price did end up breaking down, as I said yesterday. If it broke below 580, then I think it's going to get extremely bearish. That's clearly what happened, guys. I mean, this was just a very impulsive looking breakdown, guys. Obviously, clearly. So where's price going from here? We finally found support in this support area between 530 and 545. We're getting a little bit of a bounce off that area now. I would expect price possibly to bounce back up here to 570, 580, and then I do think there's a good chance it's going to come back down and possibly retest this $5 range. If we look at my Elliott count, guys, I've revised the Elliott count. If you remember, we were looking at this as a 1, 2, all of this as a 3, back down for the 4, and then up for the 5. That's no longer the case. Price did break down. It broke below this wave 1 territory, so that would invalidate that. So we had to create a new count, which was kind of my initial count, calling this as a 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Very shortened fifth, but there it is nonetheless. Now we're looking at a correction, and I'm looking at this. I'm looking at this correction as an A, B, and down for the C. I think that's one possible count. You know, has this already seen bottom? I'm not convinced that it has, guys. I'm really not convinced that it has. I think there's a good possibility we might be coming back down for another one more wave down, possibly hitting $5, somewhere thereabouts. That's a real possibility. Give you one other possibility. Another possibility, and this is a much more bearish count, guys, is that this entire thing is our A wave. We'll be coming up for the B and back down for the C. Now that's a very real possibility for a couple of reasons, guys. If we look at this, we know, excuse me, we know that and this A wave may in fact end up coming down a little bit lower. But we do know that with A wave has 5 waves. I can see here 1, 2, 3, a very quick juke for the 4 and down for the 5. Now, whether or not that is the 4 and then we're down for the 5 and we've seen bottom, or that is not the 4, which, you know, if it is, guys, I admit that's a very, very tiny little 4 there. I'm not saying that is. I think there's a very strong probability we might have one more wave down to complete that A, and then up for the B, and then down for the C. That's a real possibility as well. So, and I'm about 50-50 on which count is correct, and we're not going to know until we get some structure here in the market, guys. We're just not. I know that's frustrating to hear, but we need to see how price is going to react before we can start predicting what it's going to do going forward. This just gave us nothing. This was just a very impulsive breakdown, hitting 5 and nothing. So again, I am expecting a possible bounce here to about 580, possibly back down to the $5 range if we pull swing low, swing high. What do we have? We can see the 618 fib, which is often where it retraced to, is sitting somewhere between 522 and 513. There's a little bit of structure in that area, so I can see some support sitting in there, guys, possibly supporting the theory of another wave down. If we do, I know EOS typically does, or I shouldn't say typically, often does come down and hit the 786 fib. That 786 fib is coinciding very nicely with this 4.73 to 4.67 support zone, so I wouldn't be surprised at all if we came up and right back down to complete that and hit this support zone down here. That's a real possibility, guys. Not saying that's going to happen. I'm just saying that's on the table, and it's a real possibility, and I'm going to need to see a little structure over the next 12 to 24 hours before we're going to start to get into some real predictions on what exactly price is doing and where price is going to be going here in the short term. If we come in here, we look at our indicators here. See the 4-hour is oversold, again suggesting a possible rise in price here rather soon. If we come in here and we look at our MACD. MACD is just taking a complete nosedive. However, we pull our, we look at the histogram, we can see this point to this point created a lower low. If we look at the same point on price, created a high. I'm going to get rid of that so you can see a little bit better. We can see that from this bottom of 2 to where price is now, clearly that was a higher low. So we've got, and that this was all an uptrend, so we've got some hidden bearish divergence, once again suggesting a possible bounce here in the short term. We're seeing the same thing on the RSI. on the 4-hour RSI. Once again, suggesting a possible bounce here in the short term. Now, if we look at the daily is not oversold quite yet, even though we clearly have this very bearish looking turn, very bearish looking drop. Still sitting at about 43, somewhere thereabouts, guys. So still plenty of room to drop. We look at the stock RSI, plenty of room to drop on the daily. So I'm just not convinced that this correction is over and the wave is in. And it would be very, very odd to see this thing just tank the way it is, this very bullish thing the way it is, and then just immediately turn right back around and impulse right back up. Doesn't mean that can't happen, just means that would be unusual. So I seriously doubt that's going to be the case. In my opinion, we're going to possibly come back up, hit 580, and back down, and I'm looking at this $5 area for a possible bottom. And again, this does depend a lot on Bitcoin. If we look at shorts are starting to stack. That's certainly not surprising. Longs are falling off. Again, what does that suggest? Suggests that market makers may have incentive to take this thing much lower. Or lower. I don't know about much, but definitely lower. Prices drop below the 21-day EMA. Again, another very bearish sign. We're sitting right in the middle of the, this is on the daily, sitting right in the middle of the Bollinger Bands. Again, guys, showing a lot of room to drop still. So we're just seeing some bearish signs all around, guys. EOS is not looking great, and I would not be entering any trade positions, in my opinion. Not financial advice. You do what you want, but I wouldn't be entering any trade positions at the moment. I'd wait to see how this is going to play out before I do anything. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap it there, guys. If you have any comments, questions, suggestions, please let me know in the comment section below. As always, I'd appreciate it if you'd upvote or a like. It just lets me know you want me to continue to make these videos. And until next time, guys, please take care of yourselves, trade safe. This is Working, signing out.